Hi, my name is Thomas, aka MrWartburg, and this is the 24th episode of the MrWartburg Show. Now, in past episodes, we've talked about anything ranging from movies, TV, comic books, video games, March Madness, NFL Draft, my Crohn's disease, but today we're talking about something that is really near and dear to my heart, and that would be the Rooster Teeth Community. Now, let's lay some groundwork here, just in case you don't know what Rooster Teeth is, because I do know a few people watch these that aren't really familiar with Rooster Teeth and, that side of the kind of internet content production part of the world. And Rooster Teeth, if you've never heard of them, are the people who are behind Red vs. Blue, which is the longest-running web series. It's based on the Halo engine. It's a machinima series. / now they've gotten into some actual animated stuff in the show. They're behind one of the new powerhouses in the internet-produced anime in Ruby. They spawned Achievement Hunter, which is now spawned the Let's Play Network, which has just exploded in the last couple months, and they've really helped shape the landscape of content production, purely for the internet. And that is something, even if you've really never watched them, you've seen, the footprint that they've left, even if you don't even know it. That's how, prolific they are, I think. Anyway, that's an opinion on, content production. Stuff like myself. I'm only in it because Rooster Teeth is fucking awesome. But that's not the topic of the video. Today we're talking about the community. Now, my road into the community starts in 2013. That's when I made my MrWartburg account. It's when I started using the MrWartburg moniker. It was March, 2013, give or take. I had apparently made an account back in 2010 during Fails of the Week in Reach when it was just starting. I have no memory of this and didn't know about the account until the Laser Team perks, and I had to figure out an email issue. But that's a whole nother story. I went to RTX that 2013 with my buddy Joey. Had never really gotten into the forums or anything, and afterwards really got into the community a lot more. I started on the Let's Be Friends forum thread, which before the site changeover was and very quickly became the #1 thread on the site. I know some people weren't a huge fan of it because we definitely treated it more like a chat room type of thing. There were 4 pages that were it was just wall to wall. Now's with Thornberry smashing GIFs or GIFs, however you want to say it. It's definitely some of the funnest times I've had on that site were having GIF offs, and it was awesome. From there, it was the level 20 thread where I first interacted with guys like Priest, Fly, Chaos, Gorsey, or Shadow. What was his? I think it was Shadowhound was his former username, and then Lozelda as well. I think Seawind and Wubwave too. Then palled it up on the forum thread. This thread loved that with Tijin, Chaos, and Zach, and Dark, and the aforementioned Lozelda and Wubs, and got into producing stuff with them and being on their podcast. And then after the great etiquette schism of level 20, it was the Oxford Comic Cafe, which is still the greatest thread on Rooster Teeth, and it is one of the few that has actually bridged the gap from the site changeover and is still going strong. I think we're already up to about 560 pages as of time of recording, or at least close to. Now I don't post as much as I used to just because I'm busier now. My job, Rooster Teeth, is firewalled, so I can't get on the site at work like I used to, and I'm busier doing my own content than I was when I was active on the site, so I don't get on it as much as I used to, but I do still post journals and stuff. So that's kind of my road to the community, outside of doing the groups. I founded Midwesterners because there are lots of places in the Midwest that don't have an ardent fan base, that have a local group. Rooster Teeth, Iowa is it's a group in name only. We've never really done anything, and Minnesota has a strong group. I don't know if I'd count Michigan as Midwest, but technically I think they are, and they have a really active group. Outside of that, and now Rooster Teeth Kansas City is really starting, there's not a lot of, really active groups. Especially at the time, I think it was fall 2014 when I made it, there were very, very few Midwest groups. And it's pretty sparse. To get to meet people, even in my own state, it takes me 3 hours to get to my state capital, where a lot of people would, be able to meet up because it's the middle of Iowa. That's really hard. Take that to the extreme of the entire Midwest. It's really hard. So I made the Midwesterners group just to, have game nights and stuff. And we do a fairly decent job of getting, at least a small number of people together. And that's enough. But anyway, onto the actual community and why it's so damn cool. Speaking of community, it is a little different, at least in my opinion, than simply being a fan or a fandom of a group or consumers of content. The community, I think, at least very much got started because it was a fandom. People from all around the world, different groups I've been a part of or have seen, literally all over the globe coming around this one thing, and Rooster Teeth or Achievement Hunter or now Funhouse, or Screw Attack now, I guess, too. And just because it's awesome, that content is awesome, they come together on the site and form a community around the content. However, it has evolved quite a bit. I mean, there are over 2 million people, I think, now on the site. At least when they were changing over, it was pretty close to 2 million. I haven't really looked it up. I should have maybe done some research. But when have I ever looked shit up for this show? Very rarely, unless I knew I was going to have to talk about it, and I'm a little off the cuff right now. But the community has evolved beyond that fandom. In fact, a lot of the people on the OCC, which is one of the more active threads, don't watch the content. We're there to talk to each other. And that is a pretty cool aspect. And evolving and breaking away from just being a fandom is where the community really starts to become, something unique and very, very interesting. I'm actually a part of TFT, which is a podcast group that started on the website. I helped start one way back in my first ever podcast called the Transmission Inbound Podcast. And the acronym for that was TIP, so we were just the TIP, which I gotta say was a lot of fun, and it was my first podcast, so we did 5 episodes. Maybe I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And the logo was great. I had one of my college friends make it. It was really, really cool. And, I started Farmers with my buddy Joey because we both got into content production because of Rooster Teeth. And it's those connections with each other, like hosting meetups that have nothing to do with the content, just to meet and hang out with people. Those type of connections, because of the content, originally evolving into a community. It's just really, really cool. And it goes even beyond that. At least for me personally, lately I've gotten a lot more involved in some charity streaming on Twitch. I think the 4 I've done, are mostly because of Audrey on the site, who is at Audrey on the site. And it's from the Alana Palooza, and did a heist. Then we did the Snow Kids stream. Then we did this past month, we just did the Fibromyalgia stream. And there's another one coming up, which is for Audrey, because she has some medical things going on. So we're doing a charity stream on June 11th. It's going to be, I think, a 24-hour again, breaking it up into chunks as usual. And we're going to be doing a stream for that. And it's things like that, those stories like that, which are everywhere in the community because it's so damn big. You could look at something more macro like Extra Life, where they raised, I think, over $350,000 for Children's Miracle Network hospitals, which is insane for an internet community to do. You look at things like to get back to the more focused content, of the actual Rooster Teeth, like look at what they did for Laser Team. Like 2.4 million from like 25,000 people, something like that, in a 2 million community fan base. Like, that's pretty damn cool, but that's more fandom focused than community. But it's those things like Operation Supply Drop, or, like they said, the meetups, things like that, getting together and making content, all your own content because you got into content because of Rooster Teeth. That is what makes the community so really, really damn cool. At least to me. The awesome thing about it is it means something different to everybody. So, obviously, if you're watching this, there's a pretty good chance you're a part of the Rooster Teeth community, because that's where I'm going to share this the most. So what does that mean to you? What does being a part of the community has meant to you over the years, and however long you've been a part of the community? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you liked the video, drop a like. Subscribe to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Hit me up with topics at MrWartburg on Twitter. And I'll see you next week.